So this is a special episode of HashBangTV. This is our first Rant episode,
HashBang.tv.
.tv. We said we weren't going to do that anymore.
Oh yeah, shit, sorry.
So we've got friend of the show, Dominic, with us. You can introduce yourself in a second. We're here to rant about everything everywhere's LTE tariffs, which is going to be riveting. So, Dominic.
Hello, my name's Dominic Travers of Mobstrategy, and I'm a serial conference producer and all-around opinionated git in the world of mobile.
Conferences about cereals, like cornflakes and stuff.
Yeah, you know, head out the chocolatey bits.
Okay. And you are?
What do you mean, who am I? I'm the co-host of HashBang.tv.
Okay.
And long-term friend of Dominic. Worked with him a few times, and you're a fan of the show.
I am a fan of the show. I've often to be found ironing shirts whilst watching HashBang TV. I find they go hand in hand.
I was going to make a gag about lifting shirts. We won't do that. Okay. So, this week, Everything Everywhere have brought out their tariffs for LTE.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I was very excited about the launch of LTE. Finally, I thought we'd get some mobile broadband we can use in the UK.
Yeah.
Especially at home, because my home broadband is terrible.
Yep. Absolutely. I'm excited about much better latency in a wireless network for game playing and for actually just looking at web pages, which can take quite a long time, as I'm sure you'll agree.
And I bought an iPhone 5 really early on, and switched from O2 to
specifically to you.
Everything Everywhere in order to get LTE, assuming that the plan that I purchased would be a plan that enabled me to do LTE when they finally launched it, a month after the phone. So, what happened?
So my excitement was there right up until I read their tariffs. And from my perspective, they've just shot themselves in the foot. So, you launch the UK's fastest mobile network. You've got a monopoly over Vodafone and O2.
Yep. Monopoly's too strong a word.
Short-term monopoly.
All right.
Period of exclusivity. And you give away all-you-can-eat voice, all-you-can-eat text messaging, and you throttle the mobile data and charge a fortune for it.
Yes.
Explain that to me.
They seem to have fundamentally misunderstood the people that are going to be excited about a 4G signal. It is like the likes of you and I, people who are technology early adopters, and they're going to want to use loads of data. It's going to be fast, and it's theoretically possible with LTE to exhaust the cheapest tariff available from Everything Everywhere in under 60 seconds.
For the princely sum of about 20 quid as well.
That's £21 a month for 500 megabytes on a SIM-only deal, and you can chew that in under 60 seconds. And looking at the way the tariffs scale up, SIM-only they only go up to 5 gigabytes per month, and if you're getting one bundled with a phone, you can get up to 8 gigabytes a month for the princely sum of £56, which is
56 quid just for the data.
That's for the data with a device. That's a contract.
Yeah.
This is where
SIM only, it only goes up to 5 GB per month.
Right, can someone answer my question? I've taken up a tariff. It's a business tariff. It has 3 numbers associated with it, right?
Yeah.
My tariff, is whatever, 47 quid a month. Includes some data now. I purchased it from the orange shop. It's always said Everything Everywhere. It's an iPhone 5. Do I have to pay some more money or not?
I don't know if you have to pay more, but you can definitely switch to the new network.
But it won't be unlimited data.
No. Limited. So this is the point, right? So in theory, LTE, 30, 40 meg down, something like that?
Yeah, should be. I mean, I think, it's going to average in the 20s.
Yeah.
From what I believe, which is still pretty healthy.
So I have my home broadband, which is all you can eat. Now, I know mobile networks are different to fixed line networks. We all understand that. We're all early adopters. We get that bit. We don't need patronising pictures of trains telling us, from Everything Everywhere about... Because they seem to think it's about you can do things faster. And what they don't understand is we want to do more things.
Absolutely. And, it is suicide to offer an unlimited data tariff in the market right now. I'm not saying...
Gift do, 3 do.
Yes, they do, but I don't think that's the model that Everything Everywhere should go. What I think they've got fundamentally wrong is how expensive it is and the caps on the data. The caps should be much more generous. Sequel did a global user study of LTE networks that are live and in use in South Korea and other exciting places for mobilistas, and they found that from all of their user studies, that telcos should be bundling 20 to 30 gig into a 4G bundle for users. They found users pulling down single downloads of over 1 gigabyte.
Sure.
Because, if you start hitting, 20 minutes of a Vimeo file, which you can do very comfortably over LTE, iPlayer, all of that is just going to destroy an everything everywhere tariff in a day or less.
Agree, but they've got to do something. They can't allow one user in a cell that might have 30 other LTE
that's what fair use
users.
policies are for.
Yeah, they can have a fair use caveat.
Has it?
But the point that I'm trying to make, Chris, is that they haven't understood what users are going to want to do on 4G.
Failure, not a technical
failure. They should be offering 5 gig, 10 gig, 20 gig, 30 gig, 40 gig at sensible prices, and those should be, perhaps, they could even take the O2 model of having a data bundle that you add on to another contract. That would have made more sense to me. As a consumer, I could understand what I'm buying. I'm buying 10 gig of data from my mobile provider for, a 10 gig should be about £15 per month, and I reckon that £25 per month as a bundle should give you 40 gig of data over LTE, and that'll be a useful.
The stupid thing is, and somebody said this earlier on, is that they've got it the wrong way around. They're restricting data and saying voice and text is completely unlimited. But I've got an iPhone 5, or I've got a high-end Android phone with LTE.
Quite a lot of people have pointed that out on Twitter already, Tim.
Just believe that they didn't work that out. How did they not
so
work
if they want to strip cost out, I would take a data-only SIM. Forget calls.
Yeah, but that's not a
forget
business.
text.
That's not a business.
It is because they're selling MiFis as well. How can you sell a MiFi device and then cap the data at 8 gig?
Well, particularly on something that will run that fast.
Exactly.
And what they've fundamentally misunderstood is that users will quickly adapt to the bandwidth available to them,
as we always do.
We're technical people, we're technologists. We will try and use the maximum amount of data anywhere. But I know a lot of people. I speak to a lot of people who are outside of this circle, and everybody's moved through to broadband, to streaming. Everyone's got Love Film in their smart TV now. They don't necessarily have any technical knowledge, but they will all adapt to the bandwidth available to them very quickly.
I'm in a tariffing team at Everything Everywhere. I'm not, obviously. I've never worked at Everything Everywhere. And
did you fail that interview?
Yeah, and they don't let me back in the building. So I'm offering you an unlimited voice, text, and data on LTE. How much per month will you pay for that SIM card rental each month for unlimited everything?
So I'll give you my answer first. If my house was in LTE coverage, I would pay you up to £70 or £80 a month.
70 or 80?
Because I could replace my fixed line broadband.
Yeah, I was going to say 50, 60 quid with the same idea in mind.
This is the problem they've got, though. There's a train line going through that cell that your house is in, and you've replaced your landline, your unaffected by other people's usage landline.
But it's 1.5 meg.
You've replaced it with a mobile connection in a cell where there are people transiting through that cell, and they've got a handover of streaming, of real-time voice, of messaging going through that cell, and you're using it as your landline.
Everyone seems to forget it falls back to 3G. So that's not such a bad thing.
We've got a broadband problem in general in this country, because if we were in Sweden, then James could get 100 meg fibre for £13 a month, and he wouldn't even be considering whether 4G is actually going to give him a better connection.
But he'd be paying 50% tax on his £1 million a year Twilio contract, wouldn't he? You know what I mean?
But that raises another kind of bugbear of mine. Is okay, you've got LTE, right? Where do you build out first? They always pick the common denominator of the cities. Why didn't they attack rural areas and actually be a credible substitute for fixed line broadband with less cell congestion, less roaming, blah 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 blah.
The frequency that Everything Everywhere have isn't the great traveller of spectrums that's available to LTE at the moment. So it's the wrong frequency band to be rolling out long distance rural signalling. When they repurpose the analog TV signal, it travels a hell of a lot further.
This is why we got him on.
I really want to see an other player coming in the auctions at the end of this year. I want to see an organisation that comes in dedicated to providing LTE in rural areas.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many slots are Ofcom auctioning?
I'm not up to speed with
Is it going to be more than 5?
The full spec of
I bet it's not. I bet if it's more than 5, then they'll not make as much money.
Quite possibly.
So they need scarcity in order to get the most amount of money for that auction. So that's not going to happen.
Okay, so we all understand the limitations of mobile networks. We heard the same thing with 3G, right? And then the other argument I hear about justification of the tariffs is the capacity isn't there yet. So why launch if you're not ready?
I mean, you simply need to buy more fibre off OpenReach to put underneath your mast.
No, I think
people moan that the capacity is not there.
They're not on about backhaul capacity. They're on about radio capacity, aren't they? There's not enough cell. There's not enough cell density in Bristol or in London yet to cope with a huge influx of users. It's a bit scary, really, because the whole point of taking your advantage, the unique advantage they've got of having 2 networks that are on, 1800. It's just crazy that they're going. We'll wait for you. We'll stop.
So again, from a business perspective, surely if they'd have come up with more adventurous tariffs, even if they can't necessarily serve those customers 100% of the time with LTE speed, those customers are still going to fall back to Orange's or T-Mobile's 3G network. So that's still incremental traffic for their business. Yeah. That's the bit I don't get.
The consumer won't know though, they'll only see EE, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But this, I see a same kind of situation as when O2 got the iPhone exclusive. They attracted a whole bunch of customers that were never on O2 before for that phone.
Yeah.
Everything Everywhere had the same opportunity to get a whole bunch of people off the other networks to get LTE, even if they spent 50% of their time on 3G.
Yeah.
That's not the point.
I think you'd agree that O2's network suffered.
No doubt.
Because of that, a year later and 2 years later.
But they've retained
2009, you couldn't make or receive a phone call in East London for about 6 months.
But you say that, despite all of that, they were still the number 1 provider until the merger of Orange and T-Mobile.
I don't know what the answer is.
Okay, so have you got an LTE-capable device?
Not right now.
Right. No. Mine's in the post. Mine's coming in 2 weeks' time. You have one.
I've had one for a month. Yeah.
Are you going to Everything Everywhere?
I'm already on Everything Everywhere because I knew they were LTE. No, I'm on everything. Okay. I went to the Orange store and I bought an iPhone 5 and immediately it was on Everything Everywhere. The network ID has been EE since day one.
Okay.
So I don't know whether I'm paying extra money or not. I read the website, which looks wank anyway, to be honest. But I read the terms and conditions on the website, or the info, the FAQ, and it says, iPhone 5 users who bought it from an Orange store are fine. But fine in what way? Is my tariff enabled or not? I don't know. Am I paying £5 a month extra?
Is Bath covered?
No, Bristol is though.
So you're going to go to Bristol just for LTE?
It's a mobile phone. I don't just sit at home.
I thought you did now.
Travelling all the time.
I've been waiting for the Everything Everywhere LTE pricing to come out because I need another data SIM, I need another device, and the upshot of their pricing regime is that I'll be buying a £1 3 SIM right now.
That's exactly what I just did.
Yeah, I can get
all you can eat data with tethering.
That's quite heavy,
30 quid something.
Yeah, £29 and all you can eat data, and the 3G network on 3 is delivering 18 meg now.
Yeah,
quite reliably.
How many subscribers have they got on their network?
I think it's about 3-point-something million.
Right.
So it's quite quiet. The other thing is contention
it's tiny.
on 3.
It's tiny.
I've used 3 SIMs a lot for app testing and device testing.
Is that sustainable? To run a network with all of the...
But they can scale it as they grow.
But they've been talking about that for 10 years.
But no,
they launched it as the 3 network.
Yeah.
And they've got 3.3 million.
How many million subscribers? So actually the way to run a network is run it fully loaded and price people off the network so they don't use it.
They're in a dominant position. You've just said they're in a dominant position. They're the biggest network in terms of subscribers, and they've got this advantage of having the LTE spectrum before anybody else, right? And they may well offer 3 an MVNO deal for LTE access as they do for their 2G network.
So you're going to run a supermarket. You're going to stock it with the best possible products, but you're going to let one person through the door at a time. That's how you run your business, right?
I'm just saying there is another side to the argument, and consumers can rant and rave, but there's obviously some logic there. Look, I'm not going to stand there and defend a company that I worked for ages, and I've seen go from the most innovative place on the planet to not quite as innovative. I'm not going to say that this isn't a complete and utter fuck up. It is, but there is a reason for it. They're not just doing it to wind people up on Twitter.
We understand
it's not
that.
Some big prank.
No, but we understand that.
At the moment,
but you need to be customer led.
The problem that they face is very, very simple. Next month, they're going to have a whole bunch of early adopters with iPhone 5s or perhaps an Android device they're going to come in, they're going to look at that tariff plan, and they're going to go, oh, I don't fancy 56 quid, I'm going to go for 2 gigabytes per month on this LTE.
Yeah.
3 days later, they're going to get
the customer service
whatever the warning mechanism will trigger, and they've still got another 27 days of their month usage.
Yeah.
And how everything everywhere manage that scenario is going to be critical to success or more likely failure.
The cost of customer service will outweigh bringing down those tariff prices.
Right, if that 30-minute customer service argument on the phone about LTE is going to cost them £10 a time.
What they need is a third picture of a train with Wi-Fi written all over it. That's it.
No,
this is Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi offload.
You join an LTE provider to go on Wi-Fi.
It's not a train, it's a big oil tanker, and they can have a big oil tanker and a little train on top of the oil tanker, something like that. I don't know, I'm just thinking graphically.
Okay. So we need to wrap this rant up.
We do.
So you're not going to be joining Everything Everywhere?
No. I deliberately didn't get a new data SIM or a new phone, and I held off to see what they were going to offer. If I could have got 10 gig, 20 gig at around £30-35 a month with a decent minutes and SMS bundle, I'd have bought it. I've got my own devices. I tend to buy my own device rather than get a subsidised device. I'd have, gone and chatted up Sony and tried to get one of their LTE devices, their Android LTE device. It's lovely, and I would have really gone and used it and been effusive on social media, being a happy LTE customer.
Exactly.
And it's simply not going to happen on Everything Everywhere until they change what they do.
No, I was primed to buy a MiFi, or at least an iPhone 5 on it. You can see virtually to the minute when the tariff came out to when I signed up to 3. You're on it. Are you going to stay on it? Are you going to be using LTE?
Yeah, I love it. So I'm going to actually experiment and find out the real answer to that problem. But here's an interesting thing about the situation that Everything Everywhere is in, or EE is in, as they are now called. I loved going back, right? Because I know all the products and services, especially the value-added services, like the back of my hand, right?
Does MMS work on LTE?
Wonderfully well. It's going to be a killer app on LTE, in fact.
You haven't got enough bandwidth for it, though.
And so I know all the value-added services like voicemail or whatever, so it felt like going back to a friend, being able to navigate your voicemails like I used to, because I'm not being funny, but the O2 voicemail, shite. But anyway, so you go through, but this highlights exactly where they're at as a business, okay? So they're now combined, T-Mobile and Orange in the UK, and have a third brand called EE. Yeah. Nobody knows what the fuck they're on, right? You ring up 123, which is the voicemail, and rather than re-recording the prompt, it literally does this. Hello, and welcome to the answer phone service. So it's not switching. It doesn't say Everything Everywhere or Orange or T-Mobile. It goes, welcome to the voicemail service. I'll show it to you later. Couldn't believe it. I thought, that's something funny happens every time I ring my voicemail. But it's not. They just haven't fucking bothered.
That begs the obvious question. What are you still doing using carrier voicemail?
Or voicemail?
Because life's too short. And you're a hypocrite because you switched your voicemail off a year ago, said I'm fucking doing that. Now it's hi, I'm Jason Twilio.
And I don't answer my voicemail.
Pulling up grass. So don't give me that either.
Well, there you go. So we solved that. The first ever HashBang Rant, yeah?
First one, good. Nice to have you on, Dom.
Yeah, thanks,
Come
Dom.
back soon.
Thanks very much.
Right, cheers.